Hey there, Oz.
Hey there, Curtis.
Hey, what movie we watching this week?
This week we are watching the combination of The Bourne Identity
Mm-hmm.
meets Cube
Yep,
meets Day of the Dead,
of course.
Alice in Wonderland,
Ah.
all circled up in a nice little meet cute. This week we're watching Resident Evil.
What a cute little meet cute.
It's nice. I didn't realize till I was reading like the trivia on this at Wikipedia or whatever that Milla Jovovich and Paul W.S. Anderson are married after they met on this movie, and it's one of those like, is he a charming guy or did Jovovich realize like this guy's gonna he's gonna extend my career?
Yeah. It's a marriage of convenience.
It's right. So yeah, okay, yeah, sure, I'll marry you.
Uh-huh. I love it that Alice in Wonderland as well. That's great.
So there's a lot in here that kind of peppers around Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, there is.
Your Red Queen and your like White Rabbit and
yeah. Well done, sir.
Thank you for 2:41 a.m. I'm proud of it.
Yes, I tip my cap to you.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme. This month being Video Game Movies Month, and we satisfy it with yet another video game movie. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I am the other host, Curtis. Yeah, I'll just kind of share some of our conversation that we've had about this movie, and like it's a movie it's very busy.
Yes,
there's a lot going on. Woo-hoo-hoo! There's a shiny thing. Ooh, there's a gross thing. But nothing happens.
Nothing happens in this.
Everything film. And nothing happens at the same time in this movie.
Yeah, it is. It was like I texted you. I'm like there's so much happening, but I don't know why or what is.
But yet nothing's happening.
Oh, it is. It is a very simply complex movie. Like it's just noise. It's just all noise and flashy images and
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's goofy. It's a goofy movie for sure.
It's Paul W.S. Anderson.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, look, I can throw so much spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah,
look, none of it stuck, but you saw me throw it. Like,
I'm gonna zoom out now, really fast. Look at this.
Yeah.
Whee!
When am I supposed to be scared? Oh, don't worry. I will have a sound come in that is 50 decibels higher than anything else in the movie. That'll be your cue to jump. Oh, you mean because it's going to like startle me? Yes.
Oh, look, there's something mushy. Yeah. That must be bad.
Because Paul W.S. Anderson believes that startle and scare are the same thing.
Mush equals horror.
Exactly. Look at those dogs covered in fruit by the foot. Isn't that scary?
Ooh, fruit by the foot.
What's it look like? They look like they're just like had like wet gummy candies on them.
Nerds gummy clusters.
Those have been cool looking dogs. Oh. Well, before we get rolling, we do want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Don S., Aaron A., Mandy Cableist, L. Colin, Kate, and Lyle, and thank you guys for your patronage.
Thank you for being here for this one.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it because you're probably not too busy for this.
This movie's got a 6.6 on IMDb.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it. I mean, it's not a train wreck, but like...
No, it's a good-looking movie.
Sure.
Like, there's a budget behind it. There's... I won't... competent enough acting, like
sure,
it's a step above a sci-fi film.
I mean, there's no Sean Bean, but
no, well, true, but it's like it's a step above like a sci-fi channel movie.
Yeah,
but still the effects aren't good.
Yeah,
you can tell when they went CGI in this film.
Oh yeah. Or when they just wrap fruit by the foot around the dogs.
Or when they just wrap fruit by the foot around those Dobermans. But it's a lot of big sets. And just, it's very, I almost put Jason X in my movie Marriage.
Sure.
It just felt like, look at all these shiny hallways. Like, that this is futuristic because there's shiny hallways.
I know, right? There's glass and there's shiny metal and
right.
shiny chrome.
who, who would who wouldn't want to work at a facility where it is just nothing but metal? Metal floors, metal walls, metal ceilings, like metal doors. Everything is
it looks like a high grade Frigidaire refrigerator.
Exactly. Like, I feel bad for the maintenance crew that has to keep up with keeping everything polished and
shiny. And I was, as I usually do when it's not my movie, I was just slapping together like if this was my movie, Marriage. And of course I also had Day of the Dead and Cube as well.
Fair enough. Because it gives those vibes for sure.
Yeah. I also had The Matrix, especially with some of the, like the late 90s, early 2000s techno soundtrack.
Yes. I saw Marilyn Manson was involved in the score and soundtrack of this movie.
Of course he was.
Yeah. And he even said, he goes, it's a little more electronic than I usually do. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I read that last night. I was like, oh, that explains it. Because it was a video game soundtrack.
Yeah. I also had Aliens.
I almost had Aliens.
And Equilibrium as well.
That's a good one too.
Because there was a lot of similarities here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot. And but I just I like, maybe I should have picked Doom or Tomb Raider or any other video game movie, but we went with Resident Evil.
Speaking of Doom, I watched this on, I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. And so I watched it, and I was just jotting notes down and capturing some thoughts as the credits were done. And the next movie that auto played was Doom.
Yeah, that would be fitting. Very, very fitting. So, well, I've got the plot of this masterpiece this week. So,
hey, this 6.6 on IMDb.
This movie tripled its budget. Like, I mean, and it's a legit franchise.
Sure, I can understand why people would find this movie entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because you don't have to know anything.
No,
you just watch.
Yeah, if you just want to see, like handsome guys and pretty women and like doing tough guy things and tough girl things and punching monsters,
and you don't have to worry about following a plot because all of the convenient plot twists will happen when they're supposed to.
Yeah, all
of the memories are going to be remembered at an appropriate time. Like, it's very linear.
Oh yeah. It's just like a video game.
It's just like a video game.
Yeah. Well, but before we get to your plot there, my friend, I'll get through the cast here. I'm only going to mention a couple. There's several in the cast, but none of them really matter.
No. At one point, like, looking down the cast list, it turns into like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. White.
Mr. Gray, Miss Black, like it's like Reservoir Dogs meets Clue.
Yeah. We've got Milla Jovovich as Alice.
Rudy Tomjanovich's daughter.
Rudy Tomjanovich as Alice. Coach of the Houston Rockets, and then showed up on set the next day. So
married to Paul W.S. Anderson.
That would be a great celebrity couple.
That would be
Rudy Tomjanovich and Paul W.S. Anderson.
I didn't see that card being played.
Nope. We have Michelle Rodriguez as Michelle Rodriguez, although I think this was one of, if not the first, Michelle Rodriguez as Michelle Rodriguez roles. And
I don't think I've ever seen a Michelle Rodriguez as anyone else.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's tough girl number one. Yeah. She's one of the troopers that goes with Alice into the compound. We've got Eric Mabius. I keep wanting to say Morbius.
You should. It's morbid time.
As Matt Addison. He's like a journalist, or is he?
Yeah, is he?
We got James Purfoy, Purfoy. I don't know.
Either one.
I don't even think he knows how to pronounce it. As Spence Parks.
Spence.
Sixpence, none the richer.
Right.
We got Martin Cruz as Chad Kaplan. Chad. He's a Chad.
Major Chad Kaplan.
And we got Colin Salmon as James One Shade. He's like, I don't know.
Well, it's like when you give nicknames to characters but the nicknames don't matter. Yeah. Did anyone call him One in this movie? All I heard was Shade.
Yeah. These are fully formed characters, Oz.
Yeah, that's true.
Deep, rich backstory.
Yeah, it's like there's a thick like tomb of information on the backstory of all of these people.
Yeah.
They have their own wiki.
I'll mention two more characters. We have Michaela Dicker as Red Queen. And then we also have Jason Isaacs as quote unquote unnamed doctor / narrator.
And I don't blame him. Like, yeah, I'm friends with Paul W.S. Anderson, but I don't want to be associated with this trash. Like,
Was Jason Isaacs in Event Horizon?
I believe so.
The reason because that was also Paul W.S. Anderson, and
yes.
I think of all the Paul W.S. Anderson movies, and this is just anecdotally, I would think Event Horizon is probably his most acclaimed, if we could use that word.
It's acclaimed. It's acclaimed now. It was trashed when it came out.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's got some legs. Like it's not as bad as we originally thought.
Yeah, it's not awful. It does have some fun parts.
Right.
I know Patreon
he was in Event Horizon.
Melissa L is a fan of Event Horizon.
I've not seen the entire movie. I probably have seen clips online, but I've not seen the whole thing.
It's got some interesting parts. Overall, It eventually becomes a Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
Yes.
But
Paul W.S. Anderson's first film was called Shopping, featuring Jason Isaacs and a first time on screen Jude Law.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was kind of reading up at 241 on
that's when you do your best work.
What's Paul W.S. Anderson been up to? But yeah, so that was his first film, and then Mortal Kombat was after that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say his second film, Mortal Kombat.
Like, I'll give the guy props. Like, I don't think he's good at what he delivers is not good for me, but I will say he's definitely consistent with what he delivers.
I mean, there must be an audience for it. The guy's still making movies.
Yeah. So it's like granted, they're all just Resident Evil movies, but still.
It's all the same movie.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it, is he's got a formula that works of let's make a lot of noise with a lot of industrial tech type of music. And,
pew, 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 pew.
You know, and we'll just have people roundhouse kick and people will watch that.
Yeah. He did Pompeii.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it when Alice showed up and roundhouse kicked the volcano.
Yeah, he's now contractually obligated to put his wife in everything.
Yep.
But it's like they've got like 3 kids, so like they're happily married.
Sure.
Good for her. Not happily enough to drop the Jovovich, but
no, or the Tomjanovich,
or that,
or the Bojan Bogdanovic.
Is this the year you're going to take my name?
Nope.
People know me as Milla Jovovich.
It's Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Right. That's how they know me.
As Todd Marinovich.
Right. They know me as Mia Sandwich. I can't drop it.
Or Manwich.
Or Manwich.
Man.
Anderson's just too plain.
Yeah, let's get on to the thick, juicy plot of this movie.
Right. The old 96 servo plot. They throw the backstory at you somewhere mid, but we're going to start with it. This is so stupid. You've got Raccoon City, because
of all the was it the are raccoons? They're not rodents. What are they? Are they?
I'm not sure. They're cute.
You know, you could have gone with like Possum City,
or could have. Yeah, Mole City. Like you went with Raccoon City. So already, if you're unaware, we're watching Over the Hedge. No, so we're in Raccoon City, which is basically, I almost put Wall-E in my, because Raccoon City is basically run by the Umbrella Corporation, which shocking. They've got a lot of things underneath going on, but the Umbrella Corporation, is it's like the Amazon, only bigger. We'll take care of all of it. Don't worry.
It's like an idiocracy where Costco is every store. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Welcome to Costco. I love you. Welcome to Costco. I love you.
But that's pretty much how it is. Like the Umbrella Corporation does it all.
Yeah.
Including having this gigantic genetic research facility underground.
Yeah, like half a mile underground.
Called the Hive, because it's built like a hive, where all of the scientists live and work. And they
all the scientists,
all of them.
all of them.
And so, being a genetic research facility, they are researching genetics and doing what umbrella corporations would do, toying with what should and shouldn't be. Like, they're playing God, basically.
Yep.
They're down there, like, so the movie kicks off with kind of I had 28 Days Later in my movie marriage.
That's another one that I thought of as well.
I erased it because I can't have 8 in my movie marriage. I spent the entire episode just talking about the other movies that could tie into it.
It probably would have been more fun than
Possibly,
talking extensively about Resident Evil.
So the movie kicks off with lab science is doing lab science things.
A lot of beakers and Bunsen burners.
Exactly. Clear tubes of various colored liquids.
Yes, of bright blue liquid.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a food coloring factory is what it is.
Is that turquoise? No.
It's
light it
up. And so we've got a thief. We see their hand. We don't see who they are, but they steal this genetically engineered T virus. Yeah. And they just throw it over their head, let it crash.
What's the T stand for, Oz?
That's a great question. Tenderloin.
Tenderloin.
It's a tenderloin virus.
I think it's Tyrone.
The
virus.
T stands for the.
There wasn't enough room on the metal briefcase to spell
exactly.
it out.
It's like the if we put the H and E on there, the tape will go too far around the beaker, the test tube.
They'll have no idea what it is.
Right. So
the virus.
So it breaks the double helix test tube thing that it's in, also giving off like The Rock vibes. We can't let this get into soiled hands. It breaks and then gets swept up into because it's all gaseous, so it gets brought into the ventilation system, in which
to be that HVAC technician.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just chrome on the inside as it is on the out.
Just slipping and sliding everywhere.
And so the Hive has a built-in artificial intelligence known as the Red Queen, and because of this contamination, she seals everything off for the Hive. Everybody inside dies so that the virus doesn't leak into the outside world. So kudos to the AI. Like, it's done its job. Cut to Milla Jovovich as Alice waking up because she fell asleep in the shower again.
Again.
Right.
It's not a safe place to fall asleep.
No, it's because there's a lot of falling involved in that. So she wakes up in a shower, gets dressed. Everything's very like I can't she knows nothing, but she also is startled by everything.
Yep.
Like the wind blows through her curtain and it startles her. She opens a drawer and there's a gun in there and she's just like,
gasp.
Everything's just
one of my favorite gifs. It's from 30 Rock. It's Tracy Morgan being surprised by something and just saying the word gasp while he's gasping. Gasp.
I love 30 Rock. Do you want to talk about that for a while?
Sure, why not? It'd be more fun than this.
So Alice has amnesia. And as she is not figuring out her surroundings, she is tackled by someone, and then a bunch of like soldier commandos comes breaking into this deserted mansion she's in. Again, do we know what's going on? No, because like we mentioned 2 weeks ago with Silent Hill, this is excellent opening level of video game stuff.
Yes.
Because we are the character that we are controlling. And if they don't know, we don't know. And it's the exploratory portions of it is what makes a video game work. It doesn't work in a movie. Like where we follow someone we don't know around as they're trying to, it doesn't work. It's the same issue Silent Hill had. I get it. It works in a video game because I'm emotionally invested in this character.
Yeah,
because
I'm literally controlling
because
the character.
I'm controlling what's happening. But in this movie, we're just watching her wander around. And then Shade and his commandos break in. We figure out that her attacker is Matt. It's Matt Addison.
Matt.
Yeah, I just came to Raccoon City as a cop. I'm part of the Raccoon Police Department.
Yeah, I'm not in your records because they just transferred me there.
I just got here. Opening day.
I think I called him a journalist earlier. It doesn't really matter.
I don't start until Tuesday. I just wanted to come in early and get a feel for the place. Saw you there, thought I'd tackle you. And so
I'm on break from the academy.
Right. I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. And so we've got Alice, who knows nothing, and we've got Matt, who we don't know, and Shade are like, hey, you guys are going to go with us. Where are we going? We're going to go into the Hive. Just to figure out what's going on. Well, what went on because the Red Queen shut everything down.
Yeah.
The AI actually was the smartest person in this movie because everyone was like, well, we better go investigate. No, you programmed the AI to shut things down if things go south, and it shut things down.
Yeah, it did the thing that it was programmed to do.
Assume that it went south and move on. The place is already buried. You're fine. Yeah. And so they take a train to the Hive where they find another amnesiac, Spence.
Spence.
All right. So lucky for us, we now have two characters that we get to follow with no knowledge of what's going on.
Yep. They're both clueless.
Right. And thus far,
really
we are
engaging.
Yeah. It's like I could really associate with this guy because I don't know what's going on either. And so thankfully we get some exposition from the commandos as they notify us all that everybody in this group except for Matt is an employee of the Umbrella Corporation.
And I also put in my notes Shade, and I put in all caps expositions.
Exactly. Don't worry. You guys don't know what's going on, but I'll tell you.
Breaks the fourth wall, just looks right at the camera.
Gives us a Zach Morris timeout. Everyone just freezes in place. So yeah, apparently Alice and Spence were partners, and their job was to guard the Hive's secret entrance underneath the mansion.
Yeah. Alice flashes to a little bit of them having sexy time too.
Yeah, which is like I mentioned earlier, when your memories come back at extremely convenient times, it's like I'm not an amnesiac scientist. I don't know if that's all you have to do is let me just talk about something that ballpark of what you might remember, and you're like, you know what, I do. Thank you for clearing that up. It's like an advent calendar of thoughts.
Ooh, what's behind this door?
Ooh, you mentioned it's today. Okay.
Ooh, a chocolate candy cane.
I love it. So Spence and Alice were they're married, quote unquote married, as they're to guard the Hive secret entrance. And so they're trying to get in, and of course the Red Queen doesn't want them in. So we get what is probably the most popular scene from this movie as they come to a tunnel, and there's a guy who needs to crack the code to get in the door. He's our code breaker. He's not very good at it.
Nope, he's not good at his job.
He does eventually, they get in, and the Red Queen sends her message to get out with a laser defense system. There's 4 commandos in there, including Shade. And it's throwing their what was that Catherine Zeta-Jones movie, or maybe it was Jennifer Lopez movie where
Entrapment,
yeah,
that was the one where the only thing I remember about that movie is her in tight pants going under a laser.
I was gonna say her butt. That's the only thing to remember from that movie was the butt.
That moment is entrapped in my memory.
And you had forgotten about it, just like Alice and Spence, until I brought it up.
Thanks,
Spence. So maybe that is how amnesia works. And so they're in this corridor that is guarded by this laser defense system, these laser wires, and it's
guarded by the movie Cube.
I almost put Ghost Ship in my movie marriage because it's got we're just very clean cut. Like the opening sequence of Ghost Ship has this. Have you seen it, or at least
I have
familiar?
not seen Ghost
you,
Ship.
You get a cable, because they're on like a cruise ship, but like Titanic era cruise ship.
Okay.
And you get this extremely tight cable that keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Mm.
And it's so tight that at some point, like the mechanism holding it breaks, and then all of the torsion of this cable comes whipping through this crowd of partygoers on the deck. Yeah, and they just get sliced in half, like clean as cut.
Yep.
To where so clean that they don't feel the pain. They stand there momentarily as then their body starts falling into pieces. Like it's just kind of Wile E. Coyote approach to dissection.
Outcast actually referenced that. So fresh and so clean.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like that was the inspiration for that song, was the opening scene of Ghost Ship.
Yep. Ghost Ship has really inspired a lot.
I think Gabriel Byrne is in that movie.
Is Juliana Margulies in that too?
Yeah, Juliana Margulies as well. Mm-hmm. And so, we get this defense system where one of them dies because they don't duck fast enough, then they got to jump. Of course, naturally, it's down to Shade because he's, commando number one. And he's all about it. And then the Red Queen decides to trick him and throws a waffle at him. Like the grid comes at him and then separates into a waffle pattern. And instead of backing up into the doorway, which clearly there was room to do, he just stands there and takes it like a man and gets Julianed. And we see his body fall into
Julian.
We see his body fall into pre-cut squares.
He was served on what's the meat? Why am I blanking?
Waxwork.
Like the meat and like cheese and cracker trays.
Like a charcuterie board.
There we go. I was blanking on the word charcuterie.
Yeah, he was cut into perfect kebab shapes. Like, just as Shade is cut into bits, that's when the code cracker gets the door open. Like,
got it. Hey, you're all safe, fellas.
Come on out. And so the Red Queen is like, she's manifested herself in this holographic little girl. It's basically like, guys, leave. Like, you shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Yeah, skedaddle.
Right. Kaplan then just disables it because that's the smart thing to do. Why do we need artificial intelligence when we're all here with our subpar intelligence?
We got Kaplan intelligence.
Right. So that by disabling the Red Queen, all of the power in the facility, the entire hive, all the power fails. So all the automatically sealed doors open up, which, like we mentioned earlier, the entire staff was left to die, being contaminated by the virus. And so they're all zombified. We don't know why. Like, we have no idea why, but it doesn't matter. Because in a video game, it would be scary. But in this movie, it's like, why are they zombies? Like, what was this virus you were creating? Doesn't matter. So the entire facility is now full of the zombified staff, leaving all kinds of things to shoot your gun at, including a couple of genetically engineered creatures called lickers. Keep in mind, we are in Raccoon City.
We're in Raccoon City, yep.
So that's what they come up with, is lickers.
Liquor, yep.
So
it was originally liqueur.
Right? It was like an open bar.
Yeah. It was a lot classier.
Yeah, it's kind of, creamy aftertaste.
Yes, very frothy.
So honestly, the entire rest of the movie is moving room to room, escaping the zombies,
run bang bang, bang bang, and pew, pew, kick.
Yeah, the entire rest of the movie.
Yeah.
JD dies because they get separated. Alice, great time to start remembering her memories.
I was like, when I remember my memories.
And so I saw a clip, and this was done seriously.
There's no irony here.
Yeah, I saw a clip on TikTok, not of this movie, but just in general. It was from a different movie. I don't care what it was because it doesn't matter. But this person was, they bought a building, and and including the business inside. And so the police told this, they were telling this janitor he's got to go. He's like, oh no, he wasn't a janitor. He was like the business owner. It's like,
Okay.
you gotta go. And the guy's like, no, it's okay. He's like, what? He goes, you know what? You don't pay rent anymore. Your rent's free. And he's like, what? And he goes, you don't remember me? Flashback to this guy when he was like the building owner when he was homeless. And he was like, this guy was the only guy that helped him out.
Mm.
And he was going around looking for jobs because he's got an engineering degree, but he can't find a home. He's looking around for jobs, and it cracked me up because he's talking with the CEO who's just laughing at him menacingly.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I've lost everything when my house burnt down in a fire. And I thought, that's not supposed to be funny, but that's pretty darn funny.
My house burned down
in a fire.
in a fire.
And it was done straight. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like some joke that you and I would pull. It was done legit. And so Alice starts
making popcorn.
Yeah. And so like the guy who gave him the job was this shop owner, and he got him back on his feet. And so he's like, you run your business rent free here, you know. Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, billionaire corporation.
Exactly. I'm glad I could help you get back on your feet. Alice starts regaining her memories. Matt finds his zombified sister. Alice saves Matt from his sister, and we get some exposition from Matt. Matt was like, hey, my sister and I were actually activists.
Yeah, we're part of the underground.
That's right. We're further underground than the Hive is. And so they infiltrated the Umbrella Corporation because they wanted to smuggle out proof of the illegal things they were doing.
The virus.
Yeah, exactly. We want to smuggle it out. So then, naturally, of this conversation, that's when Alice remembers, oh, I know Lisa as well. I didn't know her when I just saw her zombified body, but now that you explain her, so Lisa, or Alice, was Lisa's contact. Alice decides not to tell Matt.
Yep. Alice was a Confederate.
That's right.
Turncoat.
So all kinds of things for her to remember. So the survivors meet back up.
All sorts of memories to remember.
God, man, so much to remember.
So much to remember.
Can't believe I forgot it all.
Good thing my memory's so good.
It's a good thing this group of commandos included the exact people that could help unlock my memories.
Yeah.
It's good thing these 6 people are the ones you sent. So the survivors reunite Red Queen's chamber. Commandos give some more exposition about we have 1 hour to leave before the Hive traps inside again.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that.
This stuff, when movies do this, it's beginning more and more to irritate me as I get older.
Yeah.
Of this, it's like
manufactured tension.
Yes, of like you have 1 hour. Look, if the AI was going to shut this place down, just shut it down.
Yeah, it would have done it.
It would have just done it. It wouldn't be like you and the zombies have 1 hour to escape this place.
You have precisely 2 hours to escape.
Right. Now it's funny in like Street Fighter, where it's like, you know, check your healthcare system. You know, it's funny in Spaceballs.
The big ticking clock. Yeah.
Yeah. It's but when movies when they just, like you said, when they manufacture tension, and it also works in a video game.
Yes.
When I have 100 beats of the clock left in Super Mario Brothers and the music picks up, I need to get on it.
Yeah, Samus, after you defeat Mother Brain, you got to jump and get out of the... Yeah, to get to the ship to get off planet.
That works in a video game. In a movie, I don't care.
No.
Like, you have 1 hour, and okay. So you guys better get on it. Like, they have 1 hour before the Hive traps them inside automatically. Kaplan now reactivates the Red Queen so that we can find an exit, but then he rigs this remote shutdown to force her to cooperate. Like, whatever. Why is Kaplan suddenly the smartest guy here?
Yeah, he was the dumb guy who got the rest of his comrades killed.
Exactly. So more running through tunnels, zombie ambushes. JD, who died earlier, he bites Rain. You wouldn't know it because she doesn't react to being bit. She hunches over and looks side eye a little bit more now because she's been bitten.
Yeah.
Like, there's no evidence that hurt. There's no evidence that you're in pain. It's just, it bit me.
Rain doesn't feel pain.
No, she doesn't. So everybody gets to safety except Kaplan. He gets bitten because that's what this movie is.
What happens?
You have an hour. Can you get everybody to the exit? No.
Yeah. Again, very Aliens-esque.
Yes. Alice conveniently remembers, guys, I just remembered there's an antivirus in the lab.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then they go to the lab. It's missing. Did I mention that Spence was an amnesiac? Because this whole time, I did.
Yeah.
This entire time,
you're getting amnesia just from talking about this movie.
No, I said that tongue in cheek because Alice's memory is the only memory we've been reconnected with this whole time. When they get to the lab, everything comes flooding back to Spence. And
I am the bad guy.
Yeah. Huh. Hey, everybody. I'm the one. Like, the antivirus isn't here because I stole it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the one from the beginning that, and it's like, this would be a pretty sweet video game cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not a video game.
Nope.
It's just Spence being like, hey, guys, it was
mediocre
me.
Movie.
I remembered it was me.
My memories remembered that it was me.
But Spence, I guess, he's the bad guy, but he's kind of good guy-ish too, I guess. I don't know. Because he reveals, hey, I was on the train because that's where the T virus and the antivirus are at. So he turns against them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then is bitten by a zombie because, again,
that's what happens.
So he traps the survivors in the lab, and then he goes to get the antivirus, but a liquor gets him. He's been licked.
The liqueur.
Right. Power goes out again. Kaplan shows up again because he shut down the Red Queen again to reopen the doors again.
Again, lots of things happening. Nothing's happening.
More things happen for no plot directive reasons.
Nope.
So everybody goes to the train where Alice gets the antivirus that Spence conveniently told them where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spence is reanimated because the liquor got him.
Yeah.
And he's alcoholic.
He just relapsed.
Yeah.
He didn't turn into a zombie. He just relapsed.
It actually wasn't even like this genetically created creature. It was just he come across the bar car of the train.
Yeah, it's the liqueur. It's not an actual beast.
Yeah. It's just stumbling and slurring.
It's his beast.
Yeah, that's right. This is mine. It's mine to wear. This movie gets really deep. Like, I almost put Leaving Las Vegas in my movie.
There you go. Yeah.
Because of all the liquor.
This movie would have been so much better with Elizabeth Shue.
And John and
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage. I don't know where I was going with John, but so they get to the train. They got the antivirus. They inject Rain and Kaplan because they both have been licked.
Contaminated. They've both been liqueured.
The liquor attacks them all, clawing Matt, who we haven't heard from forever.
Yeah.
I think I skipped a bunch where, the Red Queen offered to, I'll let you and Matt go if you kill Rain. Because, again, she's been bitten.
Yeah,
like
can't let the virus escape.
Like, the AI knows that's not good. And so they're like, no, because why would we listen to you, artificial intelligence? We have Michelle Rodriguez here. Let's see.
Who else is going to be in the new Dungeons and Dragons movie 20 years later?
Right.
Playing the same character.
Exactly. Yeah, she's so one note. Matt gets clawed. Kaplan gets killed.
Gets killed.
Yeah. Alice subdues the liquor before she turns around and there's a zombified Rain attacking Matt.
Yeah.
So the antivirus didn't work. So Matt shoots Rain, so she's dead. So we've basically got Matt and Alice left.
Mm-hmm.
Matt starts mutating. Before Alice can give him the antivirus, they get ambushed again by Umbrella people. They take Matt and they don't want him cured.
Yeah.
They take him off because they've already started the Nemesis program.
Ooh.
I wonder if that's going to be good.
Yeah. It's got such an uplifting name.
And they're going to reopen the Hive to investigate the incident, which I thought was what the Commandos were doing. I don't know.
Eh,
Alice wakes up in a Raccoon City hospital. She just has a piece of butcher block paper taped to her chest. It's not hiding anything.
No, it's not.
No, in a very PG podcast, you see about as much of Milla Jovovich as you want to.
And Rudy Tomjanovich.
I'll
say
there too.
He's never looked better. He's got a sweet roundhouse kick too.
He does. Yeah. And so she escapes the hospital because there's no one around. Mm-hmm. Just like when she woke up the first time in this movie. She escapes again, only this time she's out into Raccoon City, and it's very Atlanta in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's completely, like, I love it when movies do this. Like, it's complete mayhem.
Yeah.
Like, everybody who owned a vehicle decided to drive on the same two roads at the same time, and then they all just vanished.
Yes.
Nobody's in a lane. Everybody's all parked askew. Doors are wide open. Like, that's how Hollywood knows to show that things happened and they happened poorly, is to show just complete automobilic carnage. Yeah. Like, yeah. It's like you're waiting for Bigfoot the monster truck or Gravedigger to come drive down.
Gravedigger.
But it's effective, but it's such a low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I think, which is why I think Danny Boyle making London completely abandoned was so much more effective than like, let's take 500 cars and just park them on this road and people will know that it's been apocalyptic. And I'm like, or how about you just
strip everything away?
Yeah, strip it all away and make it even more vacant.
Yeah.
That to me is more terrifying. She naturally finds a shotgun in a police car, an abandoned police car. And so we know that she's fine.
Yeah.
Because we don't know why, but we know she is.
Sequel.
And that is this movie.
Yep.
That's the movie.
That's Resident Evil.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey folks, every week Oz and I give our own unique rating to the movie that we yap, and in this case kind of stumble around in. 2002's Resident Evil. Hey Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this 3 dog costumes.
3 dog costumes.
Yeah, I didn't mention the Dobermans, which I guess are a major part of the game because they just kind of chase you down everywhere. But the Dobermans in this they're obviously security dogs, because when you have an AI system that can shut down anything and everything at an instant, you also need dogs. Like, when you've got laser grids that can dice people into cubes, you need dogs.
Yeah.
And so these dogs become zombified later on, which, like I talked, pre-show, they look like they've been covered in like fruit by the foot. They're just very glistening, and it's like they just have like wet candy on them, and it's like they're not scary at all.
That's my favorite kind of candy, by the way, is wet candy.
I prefer gummy only if you don't have wet.
What kind of wet candy do you have here?
It's gross. It's like the only thing I think of is like the tube of gel.
Yeah,
like the sugar gel.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
I don't either. So that's mine. 3 dog costumes.
3 dog costumes. Okay.
What do you got?
I was going to go with 55 shiny objects, but you have inspired me instead to go with 4 fruit by the feet.
4 feet of fruity fun.
4 feet of fruit by the foot.
That works.
Yeah. Should be easy to find that image.
Yep, already got it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Next up, Oz and I have scoured the interwebs searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. And our next comedy segment, Outside Insights. Oz, my friend, what is your outside insight?
This is a 5-star review from Dennis. It's just a funny name to me. He says, I love this movie. This was a really original concept when it first launched, with Milla J totally committed to the character and the story. I'm not done.
I know. It's just
I like
where this is going.
This was an original concept when it first launched.
Original. Yep.
You aren't kidding, Dennis. The first time you saw this, it was the original thought. In my opinion, the first and the last were the 2 best of the series, but I did like them all. Monsters, zombies, great sets, and an Academy Award-winning performance from Milla Jovovich.
Academy Award-winning.
What's not to love? Okay.
Sure. If hey, whatever floats your boat, my friend.
Yeah.
Academy Award winning.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I host my own Oscars.
When she roundhouse kicked that dog, she may as well have roundhouse kicked my heart.
My heart, yeah. I like it. And this, to be fair, this was September 12th of 2020.
So this person hadn't left their house in weeks.
Yeah, haven't left their house in weeks. Yep. But I wonder if this review is where 45 got the idea that you don't have to accept the actual results.
There you go.
He read Dennis's review and he's like, Milla Jovovich didn't win the Academy Award, but Dennis said she did.
So she did.
Yeah. Because I just read it. Okay.
This review is just one big gaslight.
I'll have to remember that if things ever don't go my way.
Just say they did.
Yeah. The gospel according to Dennis says that the truth is what I make it. So, but yeah, thanks, Dennis. I'll have to go back and check the notes, but I don't remember her winning the Academy Award for this.
The gospel according to Dennis.
To be fair, he doesn't designate which Academy she won the Best Actress.
Just an Academy Award, not the Academy Award.
He didn't say Oscar. Could have been the Police Academy Award for Best Actress.
An Academy.
Right? It's like my local youth pitching academy. They do.
I think Dennis.
They give film awards each year.
Dennis was the 13th disciple of Jesus. He had his own gospel.
Yeah, the gospel.
It was the one that got cut. We got 66 books of the Bible. 67 is just too many.
Yeah, we don't have enough room at this table for you, Dennis.
He was eating outside at the Last Supper.
Right? Supplemental income.
Why don't you go finish that outside, Dennis?
Okay. He goes outside with his oatmeal.
His too wet oatmeal.
Exactly.
There's a food that is passable when wet-ish oatmeal.
My son likes his soupy.
He does? Yeah.
He does.
Okay.
I don't. I like mine. I don't like it dry, but I like it a nice cream consistency.
Yes, a little clump.
But he'll ask for it. He's like, "Can you make it soupy?" He just okay. He likes the adventure of fishing for the flakes.
There you
I guess
you do make him eat it outside though.
Oh yeah, I do. Should go out the garage.
But Dad, it's snowing. Just go finish it outside.
Yeah, you should have thought about that before you asked for it soupy. What's your outside insight?
My outside insight, as always, comes from the Internet Movie Database. Mine is left from. I'm going to go with Shuashawa. Left in. A lot of X's.
It's Akira. Akira Shuashawa.
There's a lot of X's in the title. Okay. Left in November 2nd, 2021.
Okay.
Also a 10 out of 10. And the subject line, which I chose to put it all bold just because this really kind of gives it away. It's a 2002 movie, you idiots. Back then, I was still in middle school. It brought all my classmates deep fear for weeks. If anyone rates this movie less than 8 out of 10, you just have a different taste and don't deserve to watch or rate these types of movies. Go watch your sitcom.
I'm very jealous that you go to IMDb for your reviews. I stay away from it because you go to it. Because we did have the one instance where I went to IMDb. We picked the same review.
The same review. Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta stay away.
This person is so antagonistic.
Oh yeah.
It's like gatekeeping as well. Like you just don't appreciate Resident Evil the way I do.
Right. Yeah.
It scared the bejesus out of me in middle school.
If you didn't watch it when you were in middle school, you don't deserve to watch it.
It's from 2002, you idiots.
The Black Sox write this review.
Black Sox.
Just comes and lays at the foot of your bed and just talks and talks.
Just talk. Oh, I'm tearing up. All right, folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for, the Let's Talk About Flicks signature segment, the 3, 2, 1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and just one, about Resident Evil. Hey, Oz, what are your 3 goods?
Oh, this was a struggle.
Yep.
Death by Laser Grid was my first one,
sure.
I guess.
Why not?
Why not? Like it there was I'm not a fan of early 2000s horror. I'm not a fan of 2000s horror much anyway.
Yeah.
The main reason being,
it's all style.
well, it's all style, but I think Hollywood got this flavor of like, you know, if we make this tame enough, then parents might let their kids go see it, and then we get more money.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, like, there's no gore. Now I know that seems odd. We got a movie full of zombies, but they're like thrillers. Like,
Yeah.
this is scary the same way like Thriller's scary. Like it's not like we see these zombies. Even when that group of zombies pulls what's his face in, like all Day of the Dead, we don't see anything.
Yeah, there's no fingers digging into his abdomen.
Right. And so when and I'm not saying that's 100% necessary all the time, but when nothing else in your movie is horror, like this is like Spirit Halloween does a horror film.
Yeah.
Of like, but there's zombies, yeah, but we don't see them really do any zombie things. Like they bite, but they bite on the hand or they bite on the neck. There's no like torn flesh or open wounds.
Yeah.
It's just ow. It's like,
ow, knock it off.
Right. That's kind and so, you know, we get this laser grid scene, which could have but even then, the only gore we see is just like, even what was his name? Shade. Or whatever. Shade. When we see Shed, like, we know he's getting cut into cubes. Yes. But even then, when we see his body fall apart, it is a right-hand side of the screen close-up, but the focus is on everybody looking at him through the door. It's like we don't even see his body fall apart. Mm-hmm. We see a quarter of his face kind of start to break away, and then and it's like, it's just, there's so much opportunity that is just robbed.
Yeah.
And Silent Hill was like, ooh, look at these scary things. Like, but they're not doing scary things. So they're not really scary. So the Death by Laser Grid, I guess, it was creative, but I really struggled. My second good was, I guess, the crazy video game score. Like,
sure.
Like, they're just, it's like this whole movie was making a meal that has all of these ingredients that should work together. And you're like, there's cream of mushroom soup, and there's cube chicken, and there's seasonings, and all this together. And then you take a bite and you're like, it's just bland.
Yeah.
Like it's like you go to the cabinet to add more of something because there's not enough there. And it's like, but it looked good.
Yeah. And
it sounded
somehow
good when
the
the
more
it.
you add, the worse it gets.
Yeah, it's just, and it doesn't taste bad, but it's just filling your stomach. You're not enjoying the meal.
Taste.
Yeah, and so the crazy video game music is another one of those ingredients that it's like, it doesn't do anything to the movie. It doesn't increase the tension. Yeah. It just loud. I guess my only good is we do have a woman hero.
Sure.
You know, and even though she's damsel in distress for the majority of the film until she remembers that she can roundhouse kick.
Until she remembered her memories.
And it's like, kudos to her, because they shot those dogs with a gun and they didn't react. She gives one roundhouse kick and it's dead.
It's done.
Yeah, that's all it needed. Mm-hmm. You guys should have used a little shoe leather.
Just fired bits of shoe leather from the gun.
That's it. Throw your shoes at it. It's a dog. So those are my three goods. My only one really being that, okay, we have a female hero, female protagonist.
Sure. Yep.
So what do you got? What are your three goods?
I really struggle to find goods
for
this
it was
movie
hard.
Too. My first one is, this is honestly more of a bad than a good, but I'm just going to call it a good because I need to come up with three. Right. This movie directly referenced aliens several times. Yes. You know, looking at the map, maybe you're reading it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to open a door, run a bypass. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's like,
yeah. And the Rain character is basically Vasquez.
Yes.
Like, it's
only dime store Vasquez.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It reminded me of a great movie. It referenced a great movie. Doesn't make this one great, but
made me want to go watch that great movie.
Made me want to turn it off and be like, I really want to watch Aliens and I don't want to watch Resident Evil.
Right.
So that's my first good, is that this movie referenced a much better movie.
It was at least it was aware that someone's done it better.
Yeah. If you want to watch something better, go watch Aliens.
Right.
Says the movie itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
My second good is, I don't know. Act 3 was I okay enough in some parts. Like,
Well, it's because we got rid of so many people.
I think it's because Act 1 and 2 were so dull that like Act 3 finally did something.
Right.
And
yeah, you're right. Like once we start separate, we get rid of the dead weight.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh crap, we got to get a movie over with.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. So
yeah,
good. Act 3 is good enough because it did something.
Yeah, there you go.
And my only legitimate good is we get on-screen text to open the movie, Oz.
I had that and I dropped it because I couldn't remember how we framed it. I actually went back through old episodes where I know we talked about it because on-screen text with voiceover.
Yeah.
Like I did. I had that. I forgot I had that. Yeah. I erased it. Like I said, it took me 2 watches for this. So I had it as one of my first goods and then erased it and then forgot about it when I came back to it. So touche.
Yes. Treat me like I'm stupid movie.
Yes, I do. I did see that, and I was like, "Oh, on-screen text,
on-screen text exposition." So that
I do love it when they read it to you as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only legitimate good that I have.
Yeah, which would be why your middle school outside inside guy was like, "Oh God, this is great! It's reading the assignment to me." Like,
it's 2002, idiots. All right, so those are my 3 amazing, outstanding, superior, Excelsior goods. Hey, Oz, what are your 2 bads?
This was no problem. I had a hard time whittling it down. My first that I'm going with here is I mentioned in my first in my goods how I'm not a fan of 2000s horror.
Yeah.
Now there are some bright spots, but especially early 2000s, they're just so dull. And their formula for horror, and this one holds it to it, is like jump scares associated with super loud noises. Mm-hmm. Monsters that wait for the camera to be on them to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how this, like, just that 2000s era idea of scary.
And the monster's just waiting for its moment.
Because, like, Rain is zombified, and Rain is on her feet on the train, and she doesn't attack anybody until Matt turns around. Looks at her, and then we get the camera focused on her, so we could get
That's my
her.
cue.
Look how scary I am. but that's pretty much what it's like. So if you're not holding my attention, then I find myself thinking like, so is she just standing there waiting for somebody to turn around?
She was there for a good solid 3 minutes, just standing.
Like as a zombie, like. You just like, I don't know what to do unless I see a face. Like, is that a human? I don't know. I'm a zombie. Like,
as long as you avoid direct eye contact, you're safe.
Right. You're totally safe. It's like, that's Medusa, you idiots. And so that's my first bad is that just that 2000s era level of scaring of we're going to throw extremely loud sounds at you as your note to be startled.
Yeah.
And monsters that wait their turn. It's just so dumb. My second bad is just Michelle Rodriguez. She's the queen of no emotion. Like I don't know how she keeps getting work. It's just purely talk through your teeth, angry grit. And like my wife and I somewhat recently watched Lost for the first time. Same character on Lost. She's the same character on the Fast and Furious movies.
Avatar.
We went to Universal Studios 2 years ago, and rode the Fast and the Furious ride, which is the most boring ride at the park.
It's actually called Slow and Dull.
It's a really bad ride. Like you go and look at reviews, and top to bottom, everyone's like, yeah, skip that one. Like standing in line's pretty cool because they've got cars from the movie that you could look at, but then you get to the ride and you're like, can I just catch the exit? Like, but she's obviously got a role in the ride, and it's the same thing. Like, like when Vin Diesel acts circles around you, you know,
that says something.
Yeah. And so Michelle Rodriguez being my second bad.
Sure.
I'm not a fan. Hey, proud of you if you're watching the show. Proud of you that you're getting work. I'm not dismissing that. You know, you got a fan base. Unfortunately, I'm just not part of it. So, what are your two bads?
My two bads. Oh God, I mean, I'll start with like every other movie we've referenced during this episode. Resident Evil is trying to be all of those movies. There's nothing unique or original about this movie at all. It's trying to be Aliens. It's trying to be Day of the Dead. It's trying to be The Matrix. It's trying to be Cube. It's trying to be all of these movies that it's better at. And it's just, you know, like
except Clue. I mentioned Clue. It's not trying to. It's not trying to be Reservoir Dogs either.
Well,
but
I mean, Alice had a candlestick in her hand at one point in the movie.
That's true. That is true.
But it's just. It's, you know, it's like it's
and there are Dobermans that you're afraid of.
That's true.
And
so it's like you know, it's the whole like some of the parts thing. It's just there's nothing unique. And my second bad, it just kind of springs out of the first one. It's just boring.
Very boring.
It's boring. And for an action sci-fi horror movie, like those three terms are, you know, you're supposed to have some kind of excitement in any of those genres, and you put them together and it's just dull.
Yeah, it's very dull.
Boring.
Somehow they cancel themselves out.
Yeah, especially anytime Rudy Tomjanovich isn't on screen.
Yeah. Which is to be saying something when your mostly mute actress is the one that's most engaging to the audience. I mean, to watch this one, she really has, for the majority of the movie, the least amount to do.
Yeah. Like, there's no backstory for any of the other characters. Not that you need this rich backstory, but like, there's nothing to them.
But when you bring this many characters and give them this many things to do, it's nice to know a little something.
Yeah, you have to feel for them in some way, and
especially as exposition based as they are. Like, they're the ones telling us what's going on, but we don't know anything about the storyteller.
Yeah, you don't learn anything about the characters because all they're doing is just telling the narrative. Right. Literally telling the narrative.
Yeah, literally telling you what's happening.
So, hey,
I'm with you.
So, hey, Oz, what's your one for this movie?
Why is the code cracker so bad at cracking codes? There's 2 or 3 different times in this movie where he's at the number pad by the door trying to crack a code to get in or out of a room, and it's like just by the skin of his teeth. Sometimes not even then. And it's like, why are you so bad at doing that? Like, did you lie on your resume? So that's my is they should have, like, the Umbrella Corporation should have hired a better code cracker to go down into the Hive that is controlled by AI coding.
I wonder what was on his resume when he applied for the job. he said he could type with 50 words per minute.
Yeah. I used to work for Game Genie.
Game Genie.
I know all about codes.
Cheat codes.
Right. I can get it anywhere. You know Contra? Yeah. I discovered that code.
Yeah. Up, down, down.
Yeah. That was me. Because this was a Konami game.
Was it?
Like, yeah.
Maybe
Resident Evil was a Konami game.
Maybe that's to get a better movie, you have to plug in the Konami code on the menu screen.
Oh, I missed it. Yeah. Right.
It'll be 30 times better.
Right. Infinitely better, actually. But you just have to watch it forever. No. Did you ever have a Game Genie?
I did not have a Game Genie, no.
I didn't either. My cousin had one that I would borrow. Mm-hmm. And of course, then you had like your book.
Yeah.
And you could buy the part that I couldn't understand. And I may be wrong, so this might just be my memory playing tricks on me, is like you bought the Game Genie and somehow it would still work with new games. Like you could buy, like you buy the Game Genie and it's pre-coded with all of these games, right? And you buy your guidebook, and then you could almost like a baseball card guide, like you could buy new editions of the book with new codes for new games that came out after the Game Genie.
It's a genie,
and it's true. I missed the mystical side of that, I guess. But it's like it would just be odd to be. But yeah, the Game Genie purely wasn't fair. Like, thankfully though, there was no online playing where one person could have a Game Genie and your opponent didn't. Like that would just Game Genie was pretty sweet.
It was,
though.
yeah.
So we got one more week left of this month.
I got to get through my
No, you don't.
Well, I mean, I don't have to.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My of all the that you could have had for this movie is a relatively simple one. If someone is decapitated by a laser, or if the laser like cuts their face in half, like how long does the rest of your body stand still before you fall over?
Well, it's the early 2000s, so it's until the camera cuts to you.
I felt like it's one of those where like I expect, because in the beginning, the first person that died, the laser sort of like cut their head in half.
Right.
Like, horizontally. And I almost expected them to like turn in the camera and blink a couple of times with like a blink sound effect. Or them to hold up like a yikes sign.
That's why I mentioned like the Wile E. Coyote thing earlier of like, as long as you don't address that you've been cut in half, you're fine. Yeah. It's pretty odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't react until you're fully in frame.
Like when Shade got Jinga'd.
Yeah.
And it cut him diagonally. All those pieces cut diagonally.
Yep.
And yet they still stayed in enough contact. Maybe it was viscous enough that there was some surface tension.
There you go. Physics will solve this one.
That's right. There's enough surface tension between the gooey parts to hold it in place just long enough for the camera to cut to.
There was a lot of surface tension between Spence and Alice. Hi-yo!
Yeah, there was. Hey! And then all the bodies just disappeared.
Yeah.
Because it's a video game.
Yeah, it's a video.
I actually did read that they cut to that. Like, they did that on purpose. To where, like, in the game, if you leave the area and come back, whatever bodies that you would killed are gone. Which is very common in a video game. And it's like, that was their little in-joke for that. Is when they were in the corridor and then suddenly the bodies were gone. I'm like, but that works in a video game. You are not making a comedy.
Yes. You're making an action sci-fi horror movie.
Yeah. Like, to do that was like, oh, that's kind of funny, because no, it's not supposed to be funny. No. This is not a comedy. All right, wrap us up next week. What do you got? Let's
put this one behind us, Oz. And
what kind of master director are we getting a movie from next week?
After struggling through a Paul W.S. Anderson movie, we're gonna talk about another Paul W.S. Anderson movie. Yes, folks, we're gonna end Video Game Movie Month with 1995's second Paul W.S. Anderson helmed movie, Mortal Kombat.
I wonder, does this movie have a lot of action? Yes. Does this movie have a very loud soundtrack?
Oh yeah.
Again, yes.
Yeah.
Like,
is this movie a lot more fun than Resident Evil?
Well, he's not bogged down by romance of Mila T. So
there's no remembering memories in this movie.
That's right. I know it's Mila J, but I like Mila T. Mila Tomjanovich. So yeah, so there's no romantic so he's not dedicated to any character in this movie.
Milla Jovovich brought out the best from Hakeem Olajuwon.
And she did. So and she was a big reason why Barkley joined.
Yeah, a big influence. So I'm more excited to talk about Mortal Kombat next week.
I am too. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie.
It's bad, but I got a feeling we're going to be making some comps to Street Fighter.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fair. Social media wise, Facebook, Instagram, we're on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do have to get better at adding to TikTok. It's easy to upload everything to YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then TikTok, like with YouTube, I just drag them all up there, but with TikTok, you got to do them one at a time.
Oh.
And so which is fine, but I gotta get better at doing that. But we are there on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Patreon link down below if anybody wants to join in.
Yeah.
We always appreciate it. I'd love to shout your name.
If you want to fund more of our research into Resident Evil.
That's true. Yeah.
Into the Umbrella Corporation.
I did see that George Romero was originally attached to Resident Evil.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He wrote a script for it that they had contacted him. He wrote a script for it because I guess he directed. I may be wrong because this is like 2:41 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
He directed a Japanese commercial for Resident Evil.
Interesting.
Yes, and it was very well received. So the production company had reached out to him to direct it. He wrote a script. He knew nothing about the game, so he had an assistant play through the game and jot down notes as they played, and he wrote the script based off of the notes.
Okay.
Which to me says he didn't want to direct this movie.
Yeah, how much money was he getting paid for this?
Yeah, and so they didn't do it, and he got like nothing out of it. But I thought, well, Romero attached to... Yeah, I mean, I see why it's your first. But again, it's that we're trying to do everything else. Like, hey, why don't we get the guy who did Day of the Dead to do this? And he's probably like, because I already did it.
Yeah,
like,
I did a better zombie movie.
A group of civilians and soldier-esque type people trapped in a
underground
building
bunker,
trapped in a building that contains everything they'll ever need surrounded by zombies. Day of the Dead's underground. I was thinking Dawn, and so I was explaining, but yeah, group of soldiers and civilians trapped in an underground bunker surrounded by zombies. I already did that, guys.
Yes.
Like, don't really want to do it again. But you guys will find us back next week when we talk about Mortal Kombat. So for another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week.